could cost a lot to go to the dentist, but not with Choosy. Meet Choosy, the payment app that helps you save an average of 24% at the dentist. No joke. It's free to download and easy to use. Download the app, find a dentist, and pay a lower price for the services you need. Save on cleanings, crowns, implants, and more. You name it, you save. And Choosy works whether or not you have dental insurance. Use Choosy as many times as you need on whatever you need. No monthly or annual fees. Ready to laugh yourself silly with savings? Learn more at smilewithchoosy.com. Introducing innovative nutrition and slapthepatch.com. A daily dose of vitamins and nutrition in one small patch. Slap the patch on and forget it. No more pill bottle clutter. Vitamins and nutrition for the best you. 7 different patches, complete. Weight management, energy, immune system, sleep, and my favorite, the CBD patch. It's THC-free. Visit slapthepatch.com for more information or to order today. And remember the hyphens, slapthepatch.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease.
So a priest, a rabbi, and a giraffe walk into a bar.
So and that's what he
walks
said.
up to the
Which
widow
way did he go?
at her husband's funeral.
So we just stood
And that's what she
So is
said.
the zebra black with white stripes? Or is he white with black
Are you talking
stripes?
about?
Who knows?
Come on.
Did he just say that?
Favorite
Walk
bubble
to a
gum.
bar.
Oh
You
my.
don't think that's funny?
What are you, some kind of comedian?
Why, yes. Yes, I am. I'm Terry Walters,
And I'm Terry Ann Zander.
and we are Some Kind of Comedian. And this is a podcast where we deconstruct the stand-up world, one comedian at a time.
Open your ears and your hearts
And your mind.
and your wallets.
Hey, not your wallets. What are you, some kind of comedian? Oh my gosh, Terry Ann, you're not even going to believe what just happened to me.
What just happened?
So I'm driving down the road, and you know, I live in a place kind of like a shore town vacation kind of area. And have you ever experienced, you pull up, you're pulling up, you're driving, you mind your own business, and the car in front of you just whips open their car door right in front of you.
Whips open their car door?
Yeah, whips open their car door. Like, you know, do you know the shiny thing on the side that, you know, that
Yeah.
most cars have?
Yeah,
You're supposed to look in that before you whip open your door.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't know why people are not looking in those shiny things before they whip open their doors.
I'm sorry. There's no way to put it. You can see my look of disgust. You can see it, but everyone else can't.
It's true. We can feel it through the airwaves.
There are so many things that are happening in cars that just boggle the mind.
It is.
People can't turn their necks anymore
No.
either when they're backing up. They've become immobilized once they get past, because the cameras in the cars, all those things have prevented people from physically moving their heads.
It's
So
like a lack of self-awareness. This is like the book I'm going to write. The lack of self-awareness. It'll be a bestseller.
I think so. I think
I'm telling you.
There are too many people who are not aware enough to actually make that kind of purchase, however.
There is a lack of self-awareness. I think there are people that are looking for really creative ways to just kind of end it all, and that might be one of them.
It's quick. It
I
could be
guess.
quick, and I wouldn't say painless, but quick nonetheless.
It's really going to screw up my day, though. So you know what I mean? It's like, find another way. But
Not only is it not self-aware, it's inconsiderate.
it is inconsiderate, you know? Anyway, well, I'm going to go pour myself a drink because I need to calm down. So I'll turn it over to you and our wonderful guest for today.
All right, fair enough. All right. Well, now you've got my brain distracted in a completely different area, but I will focus because we have someone with us today who is very focused, very funny, and I'm going to go through her list of accomplishments. Actually, we don't have enough time in a 30-minute show to go there, but let me just talk about Leighann Lord. She has appeared on ABC, NBC, Lifetime, VH1, HBO, Comedy Central, and is a former co-host of StarTalk Radio with Neil deGrasse Tyson. She was a national finalist in the ABFF HBO Comedy Wings competition, and she received the 2019 Humanist Award. She is the author of several humor books, including DICT Jokes and Real Women Do It Standing Up. I'd like to welcome my fellow comedian and friend, Leighann Lord, to Some Kind of Comedian. Leighann Lord, welcome.
Thank you so much. Wow, that actually sounds like I've had a career there.
Well, you have. You know what I wanted to ask? I'm like, what is how does someone get a Humanist Award? I'm like, we're all humans. How do I get that award?
Well, it's so funny when that happened. I made the announcement. I had friends who were like, I didn't know you were a humanitarian. And I'm like, I'm not. You guys know me. But it was given to me by an organization called the American Humanist Association, and humanism is just the basic idea that. It's not a belief in gods or the supernatural that's going to save us. It's actually human beings. Like, sure, pray if you want to, but it's humans doing our best work for humans that's going to get it done.
Okay.
And I've been involved in the organization. They've brought me in to perform, and because I'm a free thinker and a humanist, by their definition. And I could not believe remember getting the email, and I opened it up, and I'm that person. I've learned that I can't accept good news. I'm so ready and primed for bad news. Like, I'm always just ready for the fight that I get good news. And I literally walked away from my computer. I'm like, someone wants to give me something? I couldn't. Did you believe it?
Did you put it through your security filters on your computer to make sure it was legit?
Oh, I know, right? I know. Is this coming from Nigeria? Like, what's happening? Is there an enlargement thing going on? Yeah. So.
Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
it's
you
good to
so
know.
much.
It's good to know someone who has been recognized as a humanist, and which is fabulous. So that's great.
I do my best. I mean, every day for me, I'm really just trying to be a better person.
Yeah.
And 2020 is really testing me.
It's testing a lot of us. It's testing a lot of us for sure.
Can I say I was listening to you guys do your banter up front, and you said there's such a lack of self-awareness, and there's a book there. There definitely is, but you have to title it and say, "This book is about you."
I agree.
That'll get them. That'll tap into their narcissism.
Right. There you go. And it's on sale today at a special price that we've designated just for you. Right. Well, you guys could co-write it. There you go. I've put you two together. Look at that. Bringing people together.
We all can put it together. I think
Why
there's
don't we
a lot
all
of
take,
stories.
Why don't we take a chapter?
Everybody gets a chapter.
Yeah, there we go. Being self-aware from your perspective. Speaking of books, I mean, you've written a couple books, and one of them I particularly own, and I think I have it autographed too, which is very exciting. And it's called DICT JOKES, and I had to make sure I said that very clearly. DICT jokes as opposed to dick jokes, because Leighann, you're a very polished professional woman, and you know all the way. And so dick jokes, tell people what it is, and then I'm going to share two of my favorite
Sure. Dick jokes. And you're right. You have to enunciate that T, especially if you're doing something that, is FCC observed. But DICT jokes is short for dictionary, because I'm a word nerd. My degree is actually in journalism and creative writing. And the premise of the book is that words would be more fun if they meant what they sound like. And it's just something that I've done since childhood. My parents, if I came across a word that I didn't know, my parents would tell me to look it up. And instead of getting up to get the dictionary, because that's what you did back then, I'd try to figure out what the word sounded like it meant. And I was always wrong, almost. But I would come up with my own fun definitions, which kind of just continued on into my adulthood, into social media, and into that book.
So from dick jokes, I'd like to choose two words, and let's see if everyone can play along.
This is going to be fun.
We have a word. It's called. We should make this a game show.
We should.
Favorite dick jokes words for 25 points. Terry, let's go. Okay, so for Leighann, it's cicatrix. Cicatrix, which is a noun, which really means a new tissue that forms over a wound. And the Leighann definition is a reason why a prostitute considers quitting the business. Cicatrix.
You see how silly this is.
Oh, that's so funny.
Can I tell you my favorite part of this? And I don't tell people this. They figure it out when they get the book. You get the real definition in part of speech.
Right. Absolutely.
So you can accidentally learn something if you want, or just have fun.
I'm
Or
going to
both.
make it part of my vocabulary because
very
we're dealing
exciting.
with my aging father when he has a wound, and when you have to call in the wound care nurse, you have cicatrix growing over over your kneecap. Oh, and then I'm going to bust out laughing. Okay, and here's another one, which I almost was going to use. I know this word in reality, but I like what you've got here very simply. The word is unabashed. Unabashed, which is an adjective meaning not disconcerted, undisguised, or, Leighann's definition, getting uninvited from a big party. Unabashed. We give new meaning to poetry readings. We have dick jokes. But I loved it.
Can I tell you just a short funny story? When I sent this out to be proofread, I of course you hire a proofreader,
Right?
And I get the notes back, and it's very professional. Okay, I would change this or add this or do a comma or what did you mean here? And as he's going through the book, it gets less and less professional and more, ha ha ha! I see what you did there. This is great. Hey, what about this one? It sounds like this to me, and it was so funny to me that I roped in this complete stranger who bought into the premise of the book that he's forgetting to do his job.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. So what was it, your love of words and your love of your creative writing? It's really taking those two things and melding it and creating a funny way of taking what you're most passionate about, what you're excited about, and creating a wonderful, wonderful, fun little book. Was that how it evolved?
Well, again, I came out of childhood with, if I'm reading something and I come across a word I don't know and I don't want to look it up, and guessing what it is. Of course, now it's so easy to look words up, but I still had that little habit that was amusing to me, or just me, I thought. And I said, you know what, this was in the early days of social media. I'm like, this might be fun to post, in terms of, content. It's funny. It's on brand for me. And I was doing it for a while, and then someone said, you know what, this is a book. And I'm like, it is? Like, I hadn't thought of that. But I'm a digital pack rat, so all the ones I had posted I had saved, and I put it all together, and I actually had 2 books worth of these.
Wow.
And that's again, I was an English major. I love words. I'm a reader. My if you ask me what my underlying goal is, it's always to enlighten and entertain. So when I can do both of those at the same time, it definitely makes my fan base smaller.
You're funny.
Smaller, but more curated and dedicated.
I was going to say curated or qualified to, engage. More engagement. Sure. Yeah. Who wants to... You'd rather shoot fish in a barrel than just cast a wide net and see who you could catch.
Absolutely. I used to joke at a certain point in my career that my fan base, they were home studying or writing their thesis. They would love to come see me at the club, but they're really busy studying.
Yeah, I getcha. Well, that's how I kind of describe you when I talk to people. When I'm bringing you in to do a show, I said I describe, and I hate to use this word, but I think you would embrace it. I describe you as a heady comedian. Yeah. And because you're intelligent and you're bright, and it's not just all, laugh, laugh, ha, ha. There's a lot of laugh, laugh, ha, ha, but as it relates to real world, subject matter and things that are important to people, it's not just dick jokes.
Right. I would call that laugh, laugh, ha, ha, ah.
Yeah. Right.
And I like that. I do like that. I know people, I get described that way, but I also get described as I feel like I have a policy, no joke left behind. Like, I don't make you feel bad for not knowing something. Like, there are actually places in my act where I go, hey, did you guys know about this? It's okay if you didn't. There's a time when people didn't. I didn't. Let me explain it. So, because I am so selfish, I want you to laugh at everything I'm doing.
Right.
So if I have to stop and do, okay, this was in the syllabus, you guys. So let me catch up.
Yeah. Remedial comedy. Here we go.
Yeah.
Very good. And I get that. And how do you, and then you've done albums and other things too. I mean, that's again, another leap and another thing. At what point do you decide I've got enough in my toolbox or enough of an interest or a fan? Like, how do you reach that decision to to break out of the, the club stuff. I mean, you're not doing club stuff per se. You're doing more theater type shows, would you say, than the club stuff? Or are you
Well,
still?
I don't want to, cross out clubs. I mean, clubs, that's where I started.
Bread and
That
butter,
is,
yeah.
yeah. And being in New York City, let's pretend it was the before times, or at some point there will be an after time. I enjoy performing at clubs. That's like the gym. That's where you get to work out,
Right.
And get an immediate response to what you're doing. So I still love clubs. But that was the starting point for me. I did branch out, now it's more theaters and corporates. Now more corporate. Well, we'll see what's been happening as people move to virtual. But I went from clubs to doing colleges, to doing cruise ships, to doing more corporate events, and then to theaters. And it was definitely quite, oh gosh, I couldn't have imagined it when I started, but there are so many places where you can take your comedy and perform. And there's even the other direction if you want to be a writer. If you decide, what, I'm tired of the road, I hate the grind, I want to do something different. I have colleagues who've become writers on TV shows or become the producers, or, there's just so many places to go in entertainment.
Right.
I've just decided to continue as much as I can performing, and my direction again was more sophisticated places, and also being an author, and also being a speaker. And I was surprised to find out I'm really good at emceeing conferences. Like, I had no idea. But if you can MC a drunk rowdy crowd at a comedy club on a Saturday night,
right,
you can do a conference.
Yeah, they're a little bit tamer in the corporate world.
A little bit tamer. So if you're not outrageous and you have any semblance of skills, you'll do pretty well. Because you know how to wrangle, you know how to cover time. Because I love it. They give me these perfectly written out schedules, and I'm like, oh, you think it's gonna run like this, don't you? Okay.
Yeah, that's the world our producer Terry kind of falls in. She's the one trying to make sure everybody's where they need to be and on schedule and what have you, and
that they're not.
Right.
And a good host, a good MC is worth their weight in gold. So while your next speaker is late or thrown up in the bathroom, or he was here a second ago, cover. Not an issue. Not an issue if you have a pro.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
It's kind of like herding cats. Yeah.
It is herding cats.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you like cats, right?
Yeah, now I do. I was team dog my entire life, and then this cat rescued me, and oh boy, it's a different experience.
Oh, yeah. Really? Okay. Well, now we've moved into, you've talked a little bit about corporate and speaking and all that kind of thing. And I guess there's a lot of repeat opportunities in that. Once you've hosted an event or emceed an event for a corporate client, they tend to bring you back, right?
Yes.
They like you, they bring you back. What kinds of things are you seeing now with the virtual? I mean, podcasts obviously are virtual. Those are not always streamed, right? They're just audio, like this one. What about the virtual shows? How are you experiencing those, and what do you think of those these days?
It's interesting. I had 2 conferences on my calendar this year that I was hosting, when I was performing, and they both got canceled. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I spent March, everybody would call and say, hey, Leighann, how you doing? Oh, I'm just canceling things off my calendar. That's what I'm doing today. Yeah. It was just so crazy and hurtful. And I mean, and not mad at the organizations, but it's like, wow, I can't believe this is happening. And then people started to try to figure out a way to live, how to figure out a way to, okay, if this is what we're going to be living with, what do we do? And the first conference that I usually host, they scaled it way back and they made it virtual. They did so much work to make it virtual. And they still brought me in. They did their opening night. They did a game show. It was me and Andrea Jones-Roy and Phil Nye, the science guy. And we did this fun game show. And then the speakers and all of that was the next day. And they still brought me in to perform. And I did like a 15-minute set for them. And it was just so much fun to still be involved. And then the other conference I was scheduled to do in in October, they kind of strategized and they said, you know what, we don't want to give up. We have to give up the conference, but we don't have to give up the speakers. And so they designed a lecture series. And they said, Leighann, will you host our lecture series? I said, absolutely. And so instead of it being a weekend in Vegas, which is always fun, now it's every 2 weeks I'm emceeing a lecture series. You know, where I get to introduce these folks who are. My first speaker was talking about COVID-19 conspiracy theories. So I introduce him. He comes in with his slides. I come back in and facilitate the Q&A. I'm still working.
Yay.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're learning some neat stuff too.
Yes, which is what I love about doing the conferences. Because people hire me because I did StarTalk. And I tell people all the time, I said, I'm not sciencey. I'm science adjacent. And I love science fiction, and I'm always willing to ask questions.
Right.
You know, I have that open mind, and so and then you combine the humor, and it just makes it, you know, it wakes people up during the conference because they're not expecting anything funny.
Right. Now, unlike the clubs and theaters with conferences and trade shows and things like that, and workshops or whatever, the organizations often survey their members, so they're getting feedback. Whereas if you're someplace else, you're not getting feedback, right? And your feedback comes in different forms when you're doing a corporate or speaking event, right?
Yes, they have metrics. They want to measure things, and things are very important. You know, as opposed to, you know, the beer-stained comment card at a comedy club, which people may or may not be sober enough to fill out. Usually they're stumbling out of the bar and go, she was funny. You know, that's what you get.
Yeah, exactly. And a clear metric is you're invited back, which is always a great thing.
Yeah. I emceed the Northeast Conference on Science and Skepticism 3 times.
That's awesome.
3 times, yeah.
And when you're sitting down and you're writing your credits and it's like, oh, all these things, and you look back and you go, wow, that's some really cool stuff.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I mentioned that when you introduced me, and it's actually something I recommend to people when they're having a down day, or what have I done with my life, or, you know, we all have those moments. I say, read your resume. Take a minute, and I'm not even kidding. Read your resume. Look at what you've done. Look at what you've accomplished. See how far you've come. Then pat yourself on the back and say, okay, it's all right to have a down day, but you know what? I'm pretty accomplished.
Yeah.
I'm not as bad off as I thought I was.
Right. Put things into perspective, right?
Yes.
We can all use a reminder because I think we get so bogged down with all of it.
Particularly women, and maybe I'm just biased, but you know, one of my favorite books is Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office. And I can't remember which book it was. I think it's the last one that said, you know, a job with 10 requirements, you know, a man will look at that and only have maybe 4 out of 10 and go, I'll figure it out. A woman will have 9 out of 10 and go, I don't know, you guys. I don't have that 10th thing. Maybe I shouldn't. And it's like, every time.
You know, it's funny you say that. Even for this show, I have to tell you, Terry called me and we were just talking. She's like, you know, I think it'd be really cool to do this thing and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know. And time goes by. And then all of a sudden she sends me an email with this 1-page flyer of like a frame for a website. She did all the work. I'm just sitting back going, and I'm like, oh my God, she did all that work. Like, maybe I have to do this now. Because she put together a 1-page thing with a picture of me and a blurb that she wrote and a thing for that. And I'm like,
press sheet.
Yeah, a little quick. I'm like, okay, well, now I have to do it.
Sometimes you need somebody who believes in you that day a little bit more than you do.
Yeah, a little nudge.
And I'll just give you that little nudge.
Yeah, a little nudge.
Just to jump in, you know, I actually today I wrote down a saying that my partner said to me. She says, "Perfection is the enemy of action," and that's me all over. You know,
I am a recovering workaholic, control freak, perfectionist.
See, and I'm not that recovered yet.
Well, I keep saying that, and I'm hoping the recovered part kicks in because it's really no way to live.
Yeah,
you're right.
You're funny. When we were Leighann came to a show that we did. I've had the opportunity to work with Leighann a couple times, right? We did a show for a group out in Phillipsburg. It was the coldest night of the winter. Years ago for like a homeless Warren County Promise. I don't know if you remember that. It was at a big brewery place in Phillipsburg, New Jersey. It was the coldest night of the year, and in and out of the building and whatever, and then the stage was in the middle of the room, and there was nobody in front of us, and everybody was on the two sides. I don't know if you remember that room, but it was.
I spend a lot of money in therapy to forget nights like that.
Those kind of nights.
So you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Everybody had a good time. It doesn't matter. But, you know, we do those kind of things, and then we do fundraisers for schools with you know, children with whatever with learning issues and what have you. And we did that. And then we just did a virtual show together. And the great thing, the common denominator for all of it is people are laughing, and the stories are resonating with people, regardless of the environment, regardless of the opportunity for them to gather. And it's hopeful that, and I'm glad you have the corporate market, which is kind of cool.
But there's also I want to say the Zoom shows. I'm really proud of how the entertainment community is really, really trying to bounce back. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's not Broadway, which is, you know, the big barometer metric for so much of the entertainment industry here in New York, but people really sort of put their thinking caps on and went, how can we still do what we do? How can we make people laugh? Because it's something that people still need. And then so the birth of these Zoom shows, you know, as the catch-all term for any sort of virtual show,
Right.
that are just proliferating.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
to give people the opportunity to perform and to be entertained. And, you know, it's another skill set to develop, for sure.
That's absolutely right. Another skill set. It's unfortunate, though, we can't get the engagement that we get with a live in front of us, you know, in a room.
Yeah, it's
kind of
different.
thing. Yeah.
We adjust.
Yes, indeed. And we don't have to travel as far.
Oh, I love that part.
Or wear pants.
Well, we still, you know, you still have to kind of like dress the part a little bit. I'm wearing my Taz shirt today because that's who I am. Those just happen to be my initials, and that's how I am most of the time, with my arms crossed, looking very skeptical at people, with a little bit of attitude. Are you still, Leighann? Are you still doing your podcasts? You have a couple, right? Am I losing track of you? Because you're
no. I guess you're asking about people with parents.
Yes, I love it.
People with parents. I don't do as many of them as I used to, just because it's emotionally exhausting.
Yeah.
But people with parents is about the role reversal that happens between adult children and aging parents, and I started it several years ago. As all of a sudden my parents got older. Like, what just I feel like one day I had parents, the next day I'm like, what are Ruby Dee and Ossie Davis doing in my house? Like, like what's going on here? And the more you start paying attention, the more they start needing. You know, all of a sudden I'm going to doctor's appointments. I'm knowing about medications. I know their social security numbers more than mine. And it was like the mafia. I got pulled in to this wild world of elder care. And caregiving. And in the beginning, I had no idea what was going on. I felt really lost, like all by myself. And what does an artist do when they're in pain? They figure out how to turn that, you know, creatively. And I started talking about it on stage. It started resonating with people. I started the podcast, and next thing I knew, people were listening and writing me and telling me, oh, I thought it was just me too.
Yeah.
You know, and it was about, let me tell you about my mom. Let me tell you about my dad. Let me tell you about my grandpa. Let me tell you about my mother-in-law. Everybody's in this situation where they're caring for someone, and they may not have expected this. They didn't know this part of life was coming, because when have people lived this long?
Right.
You know, and so it's just, there's some interviews, but it's really these micro stories that I would share about my relationship with my parents, and, you know, even the dark humor. Like, one of my favorite moments, my worst nightmare has happened. You know, I was on the road. My dad fell. You know, I'm on the phone with the EMS driver, and he says, okay, listen, your dad wasn't hurt. You know, he's okay, but we're going to take him to the hospital because he's confused. He thinks it's 1950.
Ah.
And I said, well, then put him in the back of the ambulance and take him to the colored-only hospital. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Big silence on the phone. And I'm like, oh, I should have told you, sir, I'm a stand-up comic. But that's how I process this oh my gosh, this is happening. And I immediately went to humor. Inappropriate and dark.
Oh, but it's it's like, well, I am his daughter, and we are living in this, and we are living in the same age.
So much of the experience is surreal, and then so much of it is heartbreaking, and so much of it is funny, and just telling those stories. And I actually started getting requests like, Leighann, what is it like now during COVID? How are you handling that situation? Or my dad actually passed last year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And thank you so much. And I remember I said, well, I guess I got to do that episode. And I said, guys, while I'm managing all of this, I had no idea where this story was going. Everybody knew but me.
Right.
So we lost one of our favorite characters. I said, and it was painful and yet cathartic to do, because this is something that we all go through. And then I get to talk about grief.
Right.
And how we largely don't handle it.
Right.
In our culture. No, so I love the podcast. It's difficult to do, but I like that people get solace from it. I like that people laugh. I like that people tear up. One of my friends is like, every time it pops up in her queue, she goes, "Yay!" Oh.
That's the reaction I was going for.
Yeah, that's always what I want. I always want to make people cry with my work.
Now you also do hanging in there, right? Is that a different?
That's different. Yeah, I feel like I got bullied into that, because everybody's like, where's your live stream show? I'm like, I'm not doing a live stream show. That's just too much work. Where's your video show? I'm like, oh, all right, fine. And so it's a little bit more produced. It comes out every 2 weeks. And the title is a nod to the fact that in these times, when you ask somebody, how are you doing? The best people can muster is hanging in there. Mm-hmm. And so that's, it's a cover to talk about just almost anything. Hanging in there wise. Like my last episode was literally, I repurposed a talk I did about Star Trek.
Oh, cool.
Very specifically about Star Trek Voyager. They had an episode called The Year of Hell. And I used that as a parallel to my personal year of hell, because everybody gets one, at least one. And then the year of hell that we're all collectively having. And then I pulled examples from and quotes from Star Trek on how maybe we can handle and survive this together. Like our year of hell can be our year of growth.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So it's inspirational for taking and flipping it around and making it real.
That particular episode, yes. I did one before that made fun of people who are in the COVIDiacy.
That's
my
great. Personally
coined term for like, come on guys, we got to get it together.
Yeah, that'll be in DICT JOKES Volume 42.
Exactly.
The 2020 edition. Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, there's so much, and we could go on for days, but I am sensitive to your time and and I can't thank you enough for being a part of the show, Some Kind of Comedian, which is great. If you have so many ways for people to get in touch with you, and you called it your the gateway to Leighann Lord is through her website is veryfunnylady.com, and all of her social media handles and access is through the website, which makes it easy because oh my gosh, there's so much stuff. You're on YouTube, you're on Facebook and Instagram, you have podcasts, and I'm not urban, I'm urbane, which is re-released recently. I mean, there's so much, and I feel like you're everywhere, but it's good to have you around. It's good to know that you're out there doing your thing, and as you put it, enlightening and entertaining people.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. So as we close today, again, a special thanks to Leighann, and I'm Terry Ann Zander, and just to remind you all to love and laugh with some kind of comedian.
Hey, thanks for listening. We consider you our fans, our groupies, if you will. So please support us by subscribing to the show on the podcatcher of your choice. You can also find us at somekindofcomedian.com. The opinions expressed on Some Kind of Comedian are the opinions of our individual guests and not necessarily the organizations to which they're affiliated. Some Kind of Comedian is a production of Taz Comedy and Moonfish Production Limited. Thanks again for listening, and hey, keep laughing.
Okay, Leighann, we've had a lot of fun, and now we're going to get serious for just a moment. I'm going to ask you a question specifically selected from the Book of Questions by Gregory Stock, PhD. It's question number 68. No looking. Question number 68. When has your life dramatically changed as the result of some seemingly random external influence? And how much do you feel in control of the course of your life?
Wow. Can I phone a friend?
We are flying by the seat of our pants, and if that's what you need, you go ahead and take it, Leighann.
Okay. I'm sorry. Can I request a reread of the question?
Absolutely.
It is a big question.
It is a big
It
question
is.
because we're not messing around. Leighan's
Jeez.
thought-provoking. When has your life dramatically changed as the result of some seemingly random external influence? And then part 2, how much do you feel in control of the course of your life?
Wow. Well, the longer you live, the more of those moments there are.
Mm.
It's like the movie Sliding Doors or the Dave Matthews song, who would you be if you took a left turn instead of taking a right? I love those thought experiments, but the one that comes to mind was when I was sort of struggling. This is in my early 20s. I was at a corporate job that I absolutely hated. I mean, it was great because it was working. It was, just after a recession, so I was lucky to have a job, but I hated it. And I was searching for what I wanted to do, really wanted to do. And I had a very lovely boyfriend at the time, and he knew I was struggling, and he said, you know what, I got tickets to a comedy show, and I had never been to a live comedy show before, and it was Def Comedy Jam.
Oh, cool.
It was their first taping in New York City
Wow.
at the Academy Theater, and we went, and we sat in the balcony, and I watched a comedian named Michael Collier just do something so amazing. I mean, he's doing his act, and he has this poise and this patience and this great joke, and I remember staring at him going, I want to do that.
Oh.
That what he's doing. That, yes.
Wow.
Now, mind you, I'd watch TV on, comedy on TV, but it was that moment that just sort of crystallized, I'm a good writer. I've done theater. I'm funny for my friends. If I can somehow figure out how to get it to what he's doing. And that clearly changed everything.
That's fabulous. I love that. I love these little stories. Thank you so much, Leighann Lord.
Oh, my dear, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to have fun in the middle of the day.
Thank you, everybody. And that's a wrap. It could cost a lot to go to the dentist, but not with Choosy. Meet Choosy, the payment app that helps you save an average of 24% at the dentist. No joke. It's free to download and easy to use. Download the app, find a dentist, and pay a lower price for the services you need. Save on cleanings, crowns, implants, and more. You name it, you save. And Choosy works whether or not you have dental insurance. Use Choosy as many times as you need on whatever you need. No monthly or annual fees. Ready to laugh yourself silly with savings? Learn more at smilewithchoosy.com. Introducing innovative nutrition and slapthepatch.com. A daily dose of vitamins and nutrition in one small patch. Slap the patch on and forget it. No more pill bottle clutter. Vitamins and nutrition for the best you. 7 different patches, complete. Weight management, energy, immune system, sleep, and my favorite, the CBD patch. It's THC free. Visit slapthepatch.com for more information or to order today. And remember the hyphens. Slapthepatch.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease.